My fiancé said her ex is the best lover she ever had. Throw me into a hole and bury me alive if that ever happens. This story came December 8th, 2018. It was quite by accident that I heard this. We had a group of our friends over, and as the night went on, we all kind of busted out into little groups. Some of us were in one room playing Texas Hold'em, and a couple of others were watching a Lord of the Rings marathon. I thought she was watching the movies, but she and one of her close friends were actually sitting in the kitchen drinking coffee and talking. Our group had run out of soda, so I got up to go to the kitchen to get drinks and a couple of snacks. As I'm rounding the corner, I heard my fiancé talking, and before I completely come into the room, I hear her clearly say, "Jason is great, but he will never be the lover that Bill was." She then followed it up with, "It's not really fair to Jason though. Bill was just really gifted down there." Words I'm sure no man wants to ever hear his fiancé say. At first, I thought about just walking back into the card game and pretending like we didn't have any extra soda or food, but I decided to kind of make a noise and go in. Her friend caught sight of me rounding the corner, and I could see her make a face to my fiancé, letting her know that I was there. Of course, she had no idea I heard her, and she just stops talking and asks me how I'm doing and if I'm having fun. Loads of fun! Couldn't be better. I was tempted to say something like, "I'm having as much fun as someone who is not gifted down there can," but I didn't. I just said yes and proceeded to get my stuff and go back and finish the night. I just acted like nothing was wrong the rest of the night and went to bed. Needless to say, it messed me up. I mean, it messed me up bad. I've never been jealous or what you would call insecure about myself until that moment. I couldn't sleep that night and I went through a myriad of emotions while laying there. At first, I was angry. Then I was humiliated. Then I was depressed. Then I was angry again. Look, I realize that the male ego seems stupid to women and even guys who are totally self-assured. I would have agreed with most of this prior to the night, but once it has been damaged, it is a biatch. Listen, I don't know. The male ego seems stupid? I think it depends what you mean by that. But men also have feelings, and I don't think that's stupid. I tried to hide any form of emotion about it or ever let her know, but as the days went on, I just kept getting worse and worse. I was avoiding her at all costs, and while she was suspicious, she didn't really say anything. That is until she attempted to be intimate with me a few days later, and I flat out rejected her. It wasn't a conscious decision on my part, by the way. I had made the decision on my own to just try and get over it and move on. But in the moment, instead of being sexually aroused, I felt deeply inadequate and ashamed. Nothing was happening no matter how much either of us tried. I would probably feel the same way if I overheard my fiancé saying a comment like that about an ex-lover was better and the reason had to do with like a physical attribute. Oh, that would destroy me mentally. That would be so hard to like navigate that because every time you'd go to be intimate, you're thinking about that now. She asked me what was wrong and I just told her I must have been stressed from work, but she would not believe me or let it go. So much to my humiliation, there I laid naked in bed, unable to get pop a tent, we will say. I came clean and I told her what I heard. Well, this did not go over well at all. At first, she tried to tell me that I did not hear her correctly, but I just repeated to her verbatim what she had told her friend. Well, once she couldn't deny it, she tried to apologize, and to her credit, she tried to listen to my feelings on the matter, which once again, I am sure was more of a big turnoff for her because I was a wreck emotionally. Do all men think that we hate you having emotion? I'm not understanding. I think it's beautiful when men cry and can express their emotions properly, but okay. She tried to tell me how much of a better person I was and how I satisfied her, and she wanted nobody else. But all I could hear was Charlie Brown's teacher noise. It's been almost a month and I have zero desire to be with her sexually. None. She is now getting frustrated about this as well, but no matter what I have tried, I just can't get past this. It's not like she said we were both good lovers or anything like that. She clearly said he was far superior, and my guess is that being gifted down there means he was significantly larger than me as well. Well, I know I can do all kinds of things with my hands and okay, tongue, whatever. Okay, we get it. But no matter what, I can't grow in size. Obviously, she refuses to talk about that with me, saying that no matter what she says, it will only make things worse because even if she says something positive about me, I won't believe her. She's most likely right. Some backstory here. He dumped her. It was not a mutual breakup. He flat out dumped her and broke her heart. I know this because early on in our relationship, she told me this. She said she wasn't ready to be serious about anybody because her previous ex left her and emotionally broke her. So this is not a case of me even being able to say, well, she's with me because she wants to be. If he hadn't dumped her, she would have never left him. Now I have no idea if after all of these years she would leave me for him if he came back, but I don't think that she would. I just don't know what to do here. I can feel myself checking out of this relationship. I know this is petty, but hearing the person you love tell someone else they prefer to have sex with someone else is just devastating to me. Okay, but she didn't say that. She didn't say she would prefer to do that now in this moment, to go have with her. I don't know. I wish she never said that. I wish she never said it, and I wish you never heard. Like, truly. Her telling me all of my other good qualities has only made it worse because she's saying things that I think appeal to her and maybe other women, but being told I am a good provider and will make a great husband makes me feel like crap. Like, what would happen if I lost my good paying job? Or better yet, what if I were to get injured and I couldn't make anything more than the state assistance? Would she be there to support and help me? Basically, what I feel like right now is a really good friend who she just allowed to have sex with. I know in my head that this is not correct, but in my heart, this is what I feel. Now, he did add some edits to this original post. He was probably in his feels later in the day, so this is what he said. There are some issues I want out there because there are a couple of things that are being said that are not accurate. Number 1, she was to use the Barney Gumble phrase using sweet, sweet drunk talk. In other words, she and her friend were drunk while talking. Nope. Neither of us drink. We don't even have it in the house. So people were asking or assuming she was drunk. Those were sober thoughts. Even worse. Although they do say drunken thoughts are sober thoughts, right? Drunken words are sober thoughts. That's the saying. Number 2, that I am upset she told her friend. Well, this is an odd thing. Before I posted this, honestly, I wasn't that upset about this part. I was then, and am still, far more upset that this is how she feels. However, now reading a lot of the post, I have become somewhat aggravated that she did share that with her friend. I would never say anything about her to anyone that would put her in a lesser light. Number 3, that I am an insecure man-child who should just man up and learn to do better. Well, I'm certain the first part is true, being insecure and all, but the last part is just out of control. No matter what I do, I will only ever be my size. We have talked about this, by the way, when she was trying to build me up. She said I was already great with everything, but the one thing I can't control. Number 4, no, I'm not going to do anything rash. It's already been a month, so it's not like this happened last week. But yes, I have to decide what I'm going to do here before long. It's not fair to either of us if I am just coasting through this and no longer committed. Number 5, she is sorry that I heard it. She said she is sorry she said it, but at the end of the day, she would not be sorry if I didn't catch her saying it. It is what it is. But yes, I do believe she's regretting it because she has basically been a mess since I first told her. Me not wanting to be with her is bothering her a lot according to her. I don't know how much of that I believe, but right now I guess I don't know why she would lie. It really has wrecked hell on our Christmas spirit this year, and I know that. Next edits. He added, I'm an engineer for those who keep asking what I do for a living. She is a paralegal. People have been asking about the relationship with the ex and how I know that she was heartbroken. We met about 9 months after they separated. I know that ultimately he wanted to be with someone else, although she has claimed he never cheated. He just ended things so that he could be with another woman. She approached me at a local workshop and then we started dating. On our 4th date, when things started to get physical, she broke down crying about the ex. It was certainly weird to hold someone while they cried about someone else, but I did it. We sporadically dated for a couple more months in which I never tried to cross any boundaries physically because it was obvious she wasn't over him. So while we went on dates, I tried to keep myself of the mind that we were just friends because I didn't want to commit either. After close to 2 months, she drags me from my car to her apartment and begins to tell me how much she has appreciated my patience with her and how she felt stupid about dragging me along for so long. Obviously, that was our first night together. Within 3 months of that, she is telling me that she loves me. So yes, she was still hung up on an ex for a fact when we got together. I had thought and hoped she was over him before this happened. Now, some would have seen that as a red flag. If someone is still crying over their ex, I'm probably not getting involved with them. Not right away. They gave it some time, but if you're like heartbroken over your ex, I'm concerned if she gave herself enough time to heal before getting involved with someone else. That's all I'm saying. We have an update, and this update came 3 days later. I have had so many people post on the original thread and twice as many people sending me private messages telling me to hit the weight room and get in shape and transform myself into some form of weightlifting god. This is so stupid. Why are people saying that? I am sure that these people are filled with the best of intentions. Well, not all of them, because I have also had several people call me all forms of names while telling me to hit the weights. I guess people assume that if you lift weights, that'll help your insecurities. Men, I'm gonna need you in the comment section. I'm gonna need you. We're gonna need to chat about the men's feelings and men's way of thinking that maybe I'm just not understanding. They are using a stereotype about engineers and think that I fit the stereotype. I was a state finalist in wrestling in high school and got a partial scholarship to a Division II school for wrestling. I competed both my freshman and sophomore years. However, due to throwing a goddamn baseball, I tore my rotator cuff, and while my recovery had me well on my way back, my physical therapy prohibited me from being ready for my junior year. I did not go back for my senior year as my workload and girlfriend were too much to also dedicate the time for wrestling. Wrestling was very physically demanding and time consuming. Now, I freely admit that not training to compete did not leave me with a 1/8 the shape I was at my prime. I have stayed in shape. To this day, I still lift and do cardio at my local gym. I've been getting my ass kicked lately by my friend who is doing a Muay Thai workout. I've been trying to keep up with him, but freely admit I have a lot of legwork to do. Now this leads me to want to focus on a couple of other things. You will notice I said girlfriend. Contrary to what some of you have said or implied, I was not some incel or neckbeard prior to meeting my fiancé. I have had several girlfriends, and yes, even a couple of NSA relationships. So that is why this bothered me more than it probably should have. In other words, prior to this, while I may not have been the world's most confident guy, I never felt like I was an issue. I've never, ever had another woman say something like this in earshot of me about me. I mean, did they say it when I couldn't hear? I have no idea, but till the moment she said that, I've never had any self-doubt or lack of confidence. Now, does my mental breakdown over this make me a man-child, weak, or a straight-up wussy, as I've been called? I don't know. Maybe. Hell, probably. But bluntly speaking, I've never had anything like this happen to me before. I don't like that people are naming your feelings that. Having feelings and feeling real emotion like that, I don't think makes you any of those things. Am I losing my mind here? These are all I totally understand why someone would feel this way. Every breakup I've ever gone through was, for the most part, mature. I had a very childish breakup in high school, but does that even count? Also, to add, of all the geniuses that keep telling me to learn a new technique or practice or just get plain better at intimacy, that's not the issue here, guys. She didn't say that I could work on the issue at hand. She straight up told her friend that I would never be able to measure up, so to speak, because of a physical attribute that I can do nothing about. Do I need to be my fiance's best ever? Well, why the hell should I not want that? If you would have asked me before that night, I would have thought I was. But now that I know I'm not, well, no, I'm not really okay with the fact that I can never measure up. I mean, if I could work on something or improve something or take more time or something, sure. But to hear her say that I can never be as good, yeah, sorry, that is a little more than my ego can take. Call me whatever name you want, but it is what it is. But some of the really most disgusting stuff that was said to me is that I should be happy that she is with me and allows me to have sex with her, so she must want me. allows me to have sex with her. I cannot describe in enough words how that offends me. Maybe I've lived in a Disney fantasy world for me, but I always wanted to be with someone who wanted to be with me, not someone who allows me out of some sort of obligation. So does that make me a sissy? I don't care if it does. I refuse to be a person who begs for sex, period. If whoever I'm with does not want to be with me as much as I want to be with her, then screw it. Like, I don't know for 100% sure what I'm going to do yet. I have a very strong feeling about what I'm going to do, but I haven't done anything yet. I think y'all are gonna break up, my friend. Unless you can go to therapy together and maybe work through this, maybe on your own as well. I don't know. Before we get to another update, let's hydrate. The hell was that? Oh, my lip liner. Cheers. Hope you're having a good day. I hope your day was better than his, because that is not a good time. The next update came 1 week later. It all came to a head last night. Don't make the joke. Don't make the joke. Not the time or the place. She just came out and asked me if I did not love her anymore, and all I could tell her was that a very large part of me still did, but that what she said had really made it so that another part of me just didn't anymore. This started a larger conversation that I won't bore you with, but ultimately it came down to me saying that I would have heard that he was just better at something or more attentive to something or was able to do something that I would have felt like I could have worked on it. I would have listened to anything she wanted, worked on any technique or anything else that she would have shared with me, but to know that I was never going to measure up simply because of a physical issue was not something I thought I could get over anytime soon, or if I ever could for that matter. I was even honest and said that if it was just a one-night stand she had or some random guy who was just huge, I might be able to get past that. But knowing that it was a guy who she's still madly in love with back then when I met her, and only after time did she even start to come around, then it was just more than I could handle. She kept trying to tell me how much better I was at everything else and that I should just not throw away a lifetime over one aspect, a pretty big aspect. No pun intended. I told her that one aspect, sadly, was just too high for me, and not all things are equal, and that honestly, it is a mental failing on my part, that it is, but whether it is genetics or a learned trait or whatever, that yes, I needed to be my spouse's best, and she's already made it clear that I never can be. I tried my best to be gentle. I tried to take all the blame for stating that I knew that my attitude was probably not healthy, but it is who I am. By the way, I'm typing this as though this was a very clean conversation. It wasn't. There was a lot of crying by both of us. This is not a happy ending or even a satisfying one. I am beyond messed up in the head over the entire situation. Everybody's Christmas is ruined. We had big family gatherings that we both were attending together, and now we have to somehow break it to our families what has happened. Oh my God, how do you tell them what happened? You lie. You make something up. Say it's personal. You don't tell them what happened. This alone is causing me massive stress because my parents loved her, and what in the hell am I going to say is the reason why we are not together? She didn't cheat, and if I say I felt like she was still hung up on her ex, she will obviously deny it, and then she will tell them the truth. It's messed up no matter how this goes down. In the end, I feel like a massive failure. I feel like a failure as a man because of not living up to comparison, and I feel like a failure because I wasn't able to just man up either and get over it. She has begged me to go to couples counseling, and initially I said no because at the end of the day, what does it change? We can talk about every single thing and I can try and look at things from a different way, and at the end of the day, the woman who I wanted to marry just told one of our friends that no matter what I do, I will never be as good as her ex. I can just not see 5 years from now ever being okay with this. But because she legitimately seems heartbroken, I agreed to go. But that does not mean I will keep going. Today, I moved out a lot of my stuff and I'm staying with a coworker for a few days until I get a place to myself. She has been with her sister all day. I feel like crap. The worst part about all of this is that I still love her. There's so much me right now that wants to pick up the phone and call her and beg her to come back. Now we do have an edit that he added later on to this post. I guess I do want to share one thing that I spoke to her about. When we were having our very long conversation, I presented her with a scenario for her to compare. I know her well enough to know what comparing body parts or sexual prowess isn't going to impact her the same way that it would me. So I put this scenario to her like this. I said, what if you walked in and overheard me talking with my friend Tim and you heard this? Jill is great, but she will never understand me and comfort me the way Tiffany did. But it is not Jill's fault that Tiffany is just the smartest, most compassionate person I've ever known, and Jill just isn't that smart. Then if she would confront me about saying those things about her, that my response to her would have been, I love you for all of your other qualities. Nobody makes a sandwich like you do, and I think long term, you won't gouge me for my money. At first, she tried to say that it was a totally different issue, but once we talked more about it, she finally agreed it is because of the way we both approach and value sex. She ultimately admitted that this would really hurt her feelings, but she would not break up with me over it. Then I responded that even in my make-believe scenario, which by the way, I would never say to anyone out loud about anyone I loved, she could improve her level of education and learn to be more compassionate. I don't really think there's a comparison because the female body is a lot different than the male body. That was a stupid statement. Obviously, I don't know what I'm trying. It's right here and I'm trying to make sense in my head. I think you guys understand what I mean. We do have a final update, so get your guesses in. Do you think they stayed together and got through this or not? I have a feeling Mans couldn't get over it. I think the damage was done. I think he checked out. But let's find out. The update came 2 months later, February 19th. 2019. The holidays have passed, it's a new year. Let's see. I wasn't going to post anymore, but I'm still getting daily direct messages wanting to know how things are going. But just so anyone who cares can know, it is over. I tried to have an open mind about it, but at the end of the day, the obstacle was just too much to overcome. I even gave her an opportunity to walk back her statement or amend it, or well, do whatever she wanted to do with it, but instead, she doubled down in a way. I think by that time, she was very frustrated as well. Neither of us are really happy about this. It has been an absolute nightmare for me trying to avoid telling people/family why we are no longer together. Of course, I tried the old it's none of your business to some of them, but that failed spectacularly. And since I refused to tell, they decided she cheated on me and started spreading that around. I have had a lot of damage control over that. I decided to continue therapy on a personal level because honestly, this entire thing has really messed with my head and I have no self-esteem left at all. I've only seen her once since we separated and it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. She is now, justifiably so, in the angry stage. She is furious with me and has called me everything that you can imagine and then even made up some words. I'm really sad that this turned so... I'm just sad with the ending. I was really hoping that this could be worked on. But could you guys, female, male, doesn't matter, put yourself in that situation, it doesn't matter. Would you be able to forgive something like this? Men, female, everybody, please. Would you be able to move on from something like this? I guess it's hard to really say unless you were in it. I really was hoping for therapy to be the cure. Let me know your thoughts. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy. I'll see you tomorrow.